Okay, I think it's time to start. Oh, thank you for checking in, Ali, through the Animal fucking Crossing. You've checked in 3 times so far. Thank you very much. And also thank you for first, second, and third. First was Ali. Oh, thank you, Naivo, as well, for being, I think you were third or second. Oh, thank you, Snell, as well, for checking in. Actually, Naivo was second. And then Bleeder was third. Hello. Let's see who else is in here. Niver, god damn it. Naivo, Bleeder, Ali, Homer. Still need more spam? I think I'm good with spam, but we'll see once I change the room. Hello, Snell. How are ya? Let me just transition to my other screen. Hello. Hi, Tom. I hope you're doing good. Well, honestly, let me change screens here. Honestly, y'all, I don't think I'm doing well. I'm pretty bummed out about the whole world situation right now. I might need you guys to spam again. Give me a sec. I finally got the dual stream chat box feature here. Although I gotta change the colors and see if I can fix the size of the emotes. I don't like how small the emotes are. Can anyone tell me though if they prefer their usernames to be anonymous? Not usernames, my bad. Their profile pictures. I added here so you guys can see the profile pics, but I don't know if you guys prefer just having skulls instead. The skull thing is more of a aesthetic thing, so thank you very much for the spam. Let me see how it looks on the big screen though. Okay, it's not that bad, but I think I prefer skulls, honestly, just for the aesthetics. But tell me how you guys feel about having your profile pic being shown on stream. Okay, now that Twitch finally allows people to show both Twitch chat and YouTube chat on screen, I feel like this will, at least I hope, okay, I don't know if it's actually gonna work or not, but I hope this will deter people from being shitty on YouTube chat. And if it doesn't, at least there's like visual evidence of someone being shitty. In my YouTube chat, I feel like usually the YouTubers are the freakiest people here. I'm okay with PFP, but skulls are very nice. Okay, we'll experiment as time goes on. Thank you very much for the help. But yeah, let's get down to fucking business, shall we? Oh my god. Chat. Last week we talked about the potential of having war with Iran. And well, last weekend on Saturday, at least JP time, Japan time on Saturday, yeah, the US decided to strike Iran first, and thus starting in what my opinion is World War III. They haven't called it that. Oh, they said it was preemptive strikes. Yes, let's prevent a war by attacking a country with our missiles. Yeah, right. Okay, come on. Call it for what it is, okay? But this is going to change a lot of things, especially for Japan. I mean, like, here in Japan, we rely on oil from West Asia. I'm gonna try to refrain from using Middle East, because from what I'm understanding, and I just learned this, is that saying Middle East is actually a colonial term. It's based off of racism and trying to other a specific section in the world to further dehumanize them. So I'm going to do my best to use the word West Asia. If I don't, I mean, I'm new to this, you know what I'm talking about, and you know that I mean no harm. But let's try to use West Asia from now on. And when I say West Asia, I'm referring to the Middle East, okay? I got no PFP nowadays till I draw one. Well, it's okay. It's okay. YouTube is always shitty with me. Especially the vertical stream ones. Yeah. I'll be listening while doing my chores. Okay, that sounds good. We'll also be listening while doing stuff. Sounds good. But yeah, let's just get to the nitty gritty. The US, alongside with Israel, started a war. We say it here because we like it. Like what? Oh, you mean Middle East? I mean, it depends. I know that, everyone on Earth is used to saying it like that. But, you know, if a term has been used to be like normalized into othering a certain part of the world, it kind of makes sense to just call it for what it is a little bit. But let me take off my logo here. Welcome to TamaTalks. Actually, no, let me do my intro, goddammit. Hello, my name is Tama She, and all I gotta say is Tama Days. Yes, that is my catchphrase. Do not ask. I'm a grumpy Latina VTuber who lives in Japan, and I do political commentary once a week called TamaTalks on Tuesdays. That may change in the future, okay? I'm thinking of doing it twice a week, more likely on Tuesdays and on Thursdays. And I might just change my streaming schedule. This is a warning to everyone. My streaming schedule might end up changing to 4 days a week, where I take Wednesdays off. One, because I have 2 jobs on Wednesdays. I have 2 shifts, and I come out of work like at 10 p.m. So by the time I'm back on stream, I'm just tired as fuck. And also to prepare for the potential second TamaTalks on Thursdays. Okay, there's just a lot going on, and finally I feel like I'm having more control of my new viewers. I'm getting more attention from people who are actually interested in politics, and when I just stream politics once a week, people will forget that I actually stream politics once a week and move on to different things and forget about me. So I think the move for me now is to actually try to do it twice a week. I don't think I'll be doing that anytime soon. Maybe next month and or later. A lot of big things are changing in my life. But for now, I try to stream 5 times a week. Once is political commentary, and the rest variety streaming, where we have fun and we goof off. I please ask people to be serious in this stream, because I will be talking about serious things, and therefore do not appreciate people not reading the room and taking things seriously, okay? Okay, now that I have that out the window, let me finally remove my TamaTalks logo here. Doko desu ka? Doko ka? Well, yeah, like I said, last week, literally last week, we were reflecting on the potential of having war with Iran. And on Saturday, yeah, we attacked them. The US and Israel attacked them, and it's happening. It happened. Because of that, I feel like last week people did not enough people watched the reasoning as to why the US has been on Iran's ass for many years, and many other countries in West Asia / the Middle East. So I want to rewatch the videos that we watched last week, just so we can be under the same understanding as to why this ended up happening. Okay, so we're gonna start again by watching Israel's planned to Al Jazeera's Israel's plan to attack Iran for years. So why now? This is actually from 8 months ago. This is from the quote-unquote 12-day war. I don't know if any of you guys remember, but Israel actually attacked Iran. okay, 8 months ago. And we were all freaking out. It's like, oh, is this World War III? Is this World War III? And then Trump called it the 12-day war and that he stopped it, yada, yada. Well, the same reasoning as to why Israel attacked Iran 8 months ago is the same one that we're attacking us, the US and Israel are attacking Iran right now. So we're going to rewatch this video from 8 months ago. Let me just turn off my background music for y'all. Boop. Yosha. Okay, let's start it. Actually, I just remembered. You probably can't hear this. Tell me if you can, okay? Boop.
Let's talk about the timing of Israel striking Iran. Why now? There are lots of factors people are pointing to. We'll run through 3 of the main ones. But first, here's the backdrop. Since October 2023, when Hamas attacked Israel and Israel launched its war on Gaza, we've been in a period of heightened tension in the Middle East. Set against that, you've got a decades-long rivalry between Israel and Iran that goes back to the Islamic Revolution in 1979. And over the years, Israel has been adamant that it won't allow Iran to develop a nuclear weapon.
It sees it as an existential threat. Now, chat, this is the reasoning. It's still the reasoning. Right now, this is why we bombed Iran. This is why the United States of America, alongside with Israel, bombed Iran. They keep saying, oh my God, they're gonna make a nuclear bomb. Okay, a nuclear bomb, we must bomb them to prevent it. And the thing is, there has been no actual evidence that Iran had nuclear weapons. Of course, they had like weapons, but not nuclear ones. Not the nuclear bomb that the fucking Israel keeps whining about. So this is the main reasoning. This is me just highlighting. This is the main reason why Israel attacked Iran 8 months ago and actually has been using this excuse for many, many years. And now, right now, where we are right now is the end result of why of Israel's accusations. Like, it finally happened. They manifested what they've always wanted all these years by accusing Iran of having nuclear bombs.
It sees that as an existential threat. Iran says its nuclear program is peaceful and only for civilian use. For Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, taking out Iran's nuclear capability is something he's been talking about for his whole career.
Could you just explain for us how big a deal this is for Netanyahu personally?
Oh, this is huge. I mean, he's been calling for bombing Iran since the 1990s, but some of your viewers may remember him holding up a cartoon of a bomb at the UN General Assembly some years ago, where he said if Iran developed this much uranium, it would be too late, the point of no return. No, this is a legacy issue for him.
That also squares with what analysts are saying about all the planning that's gone into this on the Israeli side.
They smuggled in drones. They were activating their operatives in Iran. They had intelligence on where Iran's military leaders live and were able to kill them in their beds. Israelis have been wargaming this forever.
Yeah.
But certainly after October 7th, 2023, those plans took on a different hue, shall we say, and became really operational.
This operation is really planned over many, many, many years, over 10 years. The preparations cost billions of dollars. It was always in the air. It was many times almost implemented, and always there was someone who could stop it.
So how come this time?
Thank you, Danny's, for the 15 years. It's actually been 15 months, but I'm gonna say 15 years. You've known me longer than my best friend. Thank you so much. And thank you for the support, and welcome. We're reflecting on the videos we watched last week because, we were talking about the potential of an Iran war, and well, now we're at war. So yeah, 15 years, dang.
factors, starting with the nuclear aspect, which has been Israel's main justification. This is what Netanyahu said just after Israel launched its first strike on Iran.
If not stopped, Iran could produce a nuclear weapon in a very short time. It could be a year, it could be within a few months, less than a year. This is a clear and present danger to Israel's very survival. That is why we have no choice but to act, and act now.
But here's the thing. The Trump administration was negotiating with Iran about its nuclear program, and the next round of talks was supposed to happen 2 days after Israel launched the first strikes. So plenty of people are questioning why Israel didn't let that diplomacy run its course. On top of that, back in March, the U.S. made this assessment of Iran's nuclear capabilities.
The
Let's
IC
look at
continues
that.
to assess that Iran is not building a nuclear weapon, and Supreme Leader Khamenei has not authorized the nuclear weapons program that he suspended in 2003.
But there have been other developments since then. On June 12th, so the day before Israel launched its attack on Iran, the world's nuclear watchdog, the International Atomic Energy Agency, said that Iran was not complying with its commitment to international nuclear safeguards. And in a report at the end of May, it said that Iran had significantly increased production and accumulation of highly enriched uranium, describing that as a serious concern. Although in a separate report, it also said that it had no credible indications of an ongoing, undeclared, structured nuclear program.
We did not find in Iran elements to indicate that there is an active, systematic plan to build a nuclear weapon. We have not seen elements to allow us as inspectors to affirm that there was a nuclear weapon that was being manufactured or produced somewhere in Iran.
Wait a second. Does that mean that Israel has been lying for like over 10 years? Because there's literally evidence that, the U.S. has been monitoring Iran's nuclear power ever since the Obama era. And all of a sudden they're not monitoring and they're just listening to whatever the fuck Israel's saying. Interesting. Have we been here before, Danny? Listen. I just feel like this is so familiar, and I'm so happy that you're also agreeing with me. Are we putting on the conspiracy caps? It's not a conspiracy. It's right there. It's fucking. It's right here. It's the truth. They literally showed you sources. It's right there. It's right here. They highlighted it. It's not a conspiracy theory. Israel's lying, and so is the US. One more thing to keep in mind. What, girlie? You tell me what.
One more thing to keep in mind. Listen to Al Jazeera's James Bass, who we spoke to recently for our explainer on those US-Iran nuclear talks.
I think one thing we have to say, though, every time we mention Israel, is Israel has a nuclear weapon. Israel has not signed up to any of the international conventions.
Gasp!
Israel doesn't let IAEA look at its nuclear program and its nuclear weapons. It doesn't admit it has a nuclear weapon, but everyone knows that it does.
Okay, another fact.
Wait a second. Israel themselves have nuclear weapons, but they don't adhere to any, anyone to monitor their nuclear weapons, yet are calling for other countries to have no nuclear power that has been monitored before. So Israel's not following their own requests. They're just talking without applying what they're whining about to themselves. Here's my maths movement. They invaded Venezuela to secure the oil before destabilizing the the me region of oil exporters. Now that's a actually good hypothesis, because why all of a sudden, by the way, why all of a sudden when they steal Venezuela, right? Venezuela's oil, and the first country they start sending that oil to, where do they send it? They send it to fucking Israel. They send it to fucking Israel. And they sent all of that oil to Israel while also starving Cuba. And then all of a sudden they're at war. And of course, Iran, trying to defend itself and apply pressure to other Middle Eastern countries to fucking beg Israel and the United States to stop attacking them. Iran closes one of the major ports where fucking oil is transferred everywhere in that region, including Israel and especially Japan. We rely, like 70% of our oil is from West Asia / the Middle East. So, yeah, that's part of this. Was well planned, okay? Yeah, that's a good analysis that you have. Let's continue the video. Haba. There we go.
Factor when it comes to the timing of Israel's attacks is that
Kaito
a key part of Iran's defense strategy.
717435 just followed.
Thank you for the follow, Kaito. Please read the pinned. We are speaking politically right now. Thank you and be respectful. Let's start the video.
Against Israel has been its network of regional allies known as the Axis of Resistance. But it's been seriously weakened in the last year or so, especially Hezbollah in Lebanon, which is next door to Israel. Hezbollah is a political and armed group that's always had support from Iran.
Israel's been going after Hezbollah really hard ever since October 2023, even killing its leader. So did the fact that Hezbollah is much weaker now factor into the timing of all this as well?
Hi.
Yeah, absolutely. Hezbollah was supposed to be Iran's forward defense, and Israel destroyed that forward defense, basically, and really made Hezbollah incapable of retaliating on Iran's behalf.
Hezbollah was one of the threats which stopped Israel of attacking Iran.
Wow.
Because in Israel, the military power of Hezbollah was always perceived as a very strong one, a very threatening one in terms of making life impossible here, and they were neutralized.
Okay, now our third factor is President Trump. As we mentioned, Israel has essentially been planning this for years.
Yep.
But Israel relies heavily on the U.S. for military and political support. No previous U.S. president ever gave the green light for Israel to take military action in Iran
to crush its nuclear capability. Now, the thing is, though, in my opinion, this is where a lot of people might agree with me. Also, hello, Kaito. Thank you for joining. Yeah, Trump was the one that's, basically gave the green light to do all of this. But the foundation, okay, for people to just be normalized to this, for like the average American civilian to be so used to genocide and war to this extent, where they punish their own citizens for protesting what was going on in Palestine. The ones that laid the groundwork for that was the Biden administration, okay? Biden gave the okay for Israel to commit full-on genocide these past 2 to 3 years. And everyone in the world, denied it, of course. But eventually, most of us agree that what's happening in Palestine is genocide. The thing about that, though, is that now we're all desensitized. We're used to it. Okay? We literally were just trained to not do anything about it. Obviously, like, look, Biden didn't change anything. Kamala didn't change anything, and when she lost the vote because of Palestine, you know what a bunch of liberals and supposedly left-leaning people who have like a following did? They shat on us, they made fun of us, and they blamed us for everything, when Kamala and Biden were the ones that allowed for genocide to start, to humanize Israel. Don't you think that if Biden immediately stopped what Israel did to Palestine and not let it get to the point where literally in the entirety of Palestine is just flattened, there's still people starving, trying to survive, and they're still there's Israel still chopping the heads off of children still. The ceasefire never happened, okay? Don't you think that if Biden and Kamala stopped that immediately right on its tracks? Yeah, of course there's going to be conflict, but not to this extent. Do you really think that we'd be at war with Iran right now? But everyone keeps blaming Trump. Yes, Trump is a bad guy, of course. But Biden and Kamala laid the groundwork and then basically gave the baton to Trump, said, here, buddy, finish the job. This was all planned. Biden, Kamala, and Trump worked together on this. They're equally at fault. And this is why it pisses me off when a bunch of fucking people on the internet say bullshit, be like, oh, I have a clean conscience because I voted for Kamala. Like, shut the fuck up. She didn't stop this shit. She endorsed it alongside with Biden. And Biden encouraged it. Fucking hell, he even arrested protesters and beat the shit out of them. Hello? Idiotas is what I gotta say to you. Idiotas. And the VTubers who do speak politically from time to time, okay, through tweets, mostly, by the way, through fucking tweets, they said the same thing. So, people gotta fucking have some goddamn responsibility here and not do this like, oh, only one party is the evil guy. No, it's the party that does nothing, pretends that they're fucking Superman and that they're the party that represents justice. No, they're a sham, okay? They're a fucking sham. Yeah, I think people were letting Biden slide too much because it was him or Trump. We were cooked either way. Yeah. It was the same thing. This was gonna happen either way. The only difference is probably the timing. Trump just did it like this, like this. That's me snapping my fingers. Quick. Hella fast. Biden might have taken a little, Biden or Kamala might have taken maybe a little more time. That's it. But they would have done the same shit. Y'all got duped twice. We really fucking did. Not me, though. Not me. There's a trail on the internet of me being, and I'm still a nobody, by the way, but me fighting Twitter fights with other creators, especially VTubers, bigger than me, okay? Bigger than me, telling me that I'm the reason why America's downfall is going to happen because I didn't vote for Kamala. But they're not out there protesting a genocide. They're not out there trying to fundraise charity for Palestine. No, but they're good at fucking blaming people like me who didn't vote for Hitler 2.0. Hello? Anyway, let's continue the video. Also, there's a 3-minute ad break. I apologize. Tama just saying Biden gotta have his nap. I don't even know how that guy's still alive. Fuck that guy, man.
Crush its nuclear capability. One way or another, it happened under Trump. But we don't know exactly how that played out. He's been sending mixed messages. Just one day before Israel's attack, He suggested that he wanted to stick with the nuclear talks.
Look, I want to have an agreement with Iran. As long as I think there is an agreement, I don't want them going in because I think that would blow it. Might help it, actually, but it also could blow it.
But since then, he seems to have become more and more aligned with Israel's messaging. He implied that Israel's operation was all part of an ultimatum that he gave to Iran when they started talks on a nuclear deal earlier this year.
I gave Iran 60 days, and they said no, and the 61st, you saw what happened.
5 days into the attacks, he posted this threat about Iran's supreme leader, saying he's an easy target and we're not going to take him out, i.e. kill him, at least for now. Trump also demanded an unconditional surrender by Iran, which Iran's supreme leader has rejected.
The Iranian nation stands firm against the imposed war as it stood so far, and stands firm against the imposed peace. The Iranian nation will not surrender to anyone in the face of
When you see that
imposition.
Trump was very much pushing
Thank you for the
these
lurk, Relu.
U.S.-Iran nuclear talks to go ahead, and at the same time appearing to quietly endorse or allow this operation against Iran to happen. Can you help make sense of that for us?
The answer is no. I surrender vis-a-vis Trump. I really can't analyze him, can't predict him, obviously, because he cannot predict himself. But he has the keys, as usual. He has the keys. Where are we aiming now? He can make this war finish, and he can make this war even a bigger hell.
And is that what Israel is gunning for, is U.S. involvement at this point?
No doubt. They are doing anything possible to pull him in, including increasing the hits in Iran, so that Iran will hit back more seriously. So the threat, or the so-called threat over Israel, will seem to be more serious. And then there will be more public pressure in the United States to protect Israel.
What happens next depends a lot on what Trump decides to do.
And that's the saddest thing. Again, this video is from 8 months ago, from the 12-day war when Israel first attacked Iran 8 months ago, okay? And so Israel has been doing this bullshit where they just bomb random countries from West Asia, aka the Middle East, in order to bait them into attacking back. And when they attack back, they go, oh my god, please, US, United States, daddy, go nuke them. Because they have nukes, look. Oh, we attacked first? Ignore that. We are God's people. Come on, man. Come on. To be fair, my guys in England aren't much better. No, of course. Every Western country or country that is allies with Western countries, like who literally do nothing to stop atrocities being done to humanity, are equally at fault for this. Legit, more civilians from around the world are doing their best, okay, to stop this shit from happening. You know, you got fucking youngsters infiltrating literally companies that make weapons and destroying their property, protesting in front of ships so they won't ship weapons and oil to, again, Israel to commit more genocide. But why are the people doing that? Why are all the embargoes going to Cuba and not to fucking Israel? Hello? That's the issue here. Where all countries are at fault because all of them can impose sanctions, embargoes, limit shit to go into Israel. But here is the US that started with the Biden campaign, by the way, fucking kidnapping the Venezuelan president and stealing the oil and sending it to Israel. That's an endorsement of genocide right there. And because they were preparing to go into war with Iran. I also don't understand Israel. What will all this have been for in the end? Oh, supreme power over the Middle East. Iran is literally the only country that refuses to be colonized by the US. Okay? Literally every other Middle Eastern country bends its will most of the time to the US. They go, hey, attack Iran, and they'll attack Iran. Defend us, they'll defend the US. But Iran goes, nah, hell no, stay out of our shit. Yeah, of course, we're gonna negotiate on certain things, but you're not controlling us. You tried to many years ago, and soon we will rewatch the video that we watched last week showing that. But yeah, you know, if you get rid of Iran, you get rid of the biggest power that has enough power to fight back. You know, obviously they might lose or not, but they have that huge power to fight back. And now Ali is on YouTube chat.
Most experts agree that the only way to wipe out Iran's nuclear program militarily is with direct U.S. involvement, because it's the only country with a massive bunker buster bomb that can hit deep underground. That's where Iran has built some of its nuclear infrastructure. There's one enrichment site in particular in a place called Fordow in northwest Iran, which is basically buried under a mountain. But for now, Trump seems to want to keep people guessing as to whether or not the U.S. will strike Iran's nuclear facilities.
I mean, you don't know that I'm going to even do it. You don't know. I may do it. I may not do it. I mean, nobody knows what I'm going to do. I can tell you this, that Iran's got a lot of trouble, and they want to negotiate.
Whoa, you did it.
It seems that Israel's goals might go beyond taking out Iran's nuclear sites, because Israel hit a whole range of targets, from assassinating top military officials to bombing the state TV channel. Some people are suggesting there's a bigger motivation here, to bring down Iran's government. Israel's defense minister has said that eliminating Iran's supreme leader is part of the campaign.
They are using Iran's nuclear program as a pretext to wage a war, and their aim is regime change and topple the ruling system, hoping that their actions will lead to some Iranians protesting in the streets.
And here's the thing. Trump literally called for that. He said, hey, we killed your leader. Stay safe, Iranians. Now is your time to go protest on the street and take over your government. Trump literally said that. He literally said that. And why? Why does the US want this to happen? Let's let this guy finish what he was saying.
And that the ruling system is going to collapse from within. That is a big, huge miscalculation.
Is regime change part of the calculation in terms of timing?
No doubt. The only way really to neutralize the Iranian nuclear capabilities is through changing the regime. Changing regimes by force never succeeded nowhere. From Afghanistan to Vietnam, from Lebanon to Gaza and the West Bank, Americans and Israel tried so many times to change regimes in so many countries. It was always a catastrophe.
And it's already a disaster for so many people caught up in this war. Hundreds of civilians have been killed, mainly in Iran, but also some in Israel from Iran's retaliatory strikes. People's lives are on hold, and there's a lot of fear about how much worse this could still get.
And they were talking about the ifs, if. And it happened on Saturday. It just ended up all happening. Unfortunately. I compare this to Russia invading Ukraine and how we were so ready to go to war with Russia over it, but this time we're helping the ones doing the instigating. No, we're not helping the ones doing the we are the ones instigating. We are Israel. That's the thing that people can't see anymore. Israel has already infiltrated the US. When I showed you guys evidence from the Epstein files where fucking Jeffrey Epstein was talking to the Prime Minister of Israel and telling him to look into Palantir, a company that specializes on tracking and monitoring Palestinians, and also used to monitor people that I suspect to not be legally in the US, which is mostly bullshit most of the time because they end up harassing Americans either way. Like, the spy, one of the spies was Epstein. He was an Israeli spy, and he controlled literally almost all the leaders around the world by trafficking children and raping them. And also doing organ trafficking and sacrificial shit. Like, in this case, like, it was all done for the sake of Israel. And it was behind the scenes. You know, we are basically Israel. Like, the US is Israel in the sense where we're not doing this for the benefit of the American citizens. We're doing it for the benefit of Israel and the top, like, 1% that live in the US, okay? That's the truth of the matter. Now let's look. This was from 8 months ago when Israel attacked Iran first, and now, obviously, now we all know that it actually succeeded in leading to the current war that we started with Iran. But let's look at the history, okay, behind the US-Iran conflict, and this is by TRT World, okay, a Turkish public broadcast service. I'm gonna let this play for a bit. I'll zoom in for your convenience, but I will go pee-pees while you guys watch this. My bad, I've been holding it in, but I'll be right back, okay? Oh, and apparently I have to take my medication as well, so I'll be back, but I can still hear this, okay?
For many years, Iran has defined itself in part by its opposition to my country. And there is, in fact, a tumultuous history between us.
States like these and their terrorist allies constitute an axis of evil, arming to threaten the peace of the world.
Relations between Iran and the United States have been mostly adversarial since the 1979 Islamic Revolution.
Here was not an embassy. It was a CIA center. This was a den of espionage, where they were plotting against the Iranian people.
But the seeds of animosity between the two countries were planted decades before. In 1952, Time magazine chose Iran's Prime Minister, Mohammad Mossadegh, as the 1951 Man of the Year for his efforts to nationalize his country's oil wealth despite mounting economic pressure from Britain. Mossadegh was Iran's 35th Prime Minister, but his government succeeded in doing what no other Iranian leader was able to do before. He went against British interests in his country and deprived the Navy from securing oil supplies. To understand how important this chapter is in Iran's history and how it shaped its future and its relations with the US, we have to go back to the start of the century, when Iran was still known as Persia. Like many states in the region, Iranian oil wealth was monitored by foreign countries since its discovery. In 1901, the British government encouraged entrepreneur William Knox Darcy to invest in Persia's oil sector. The British brokered a deal between Darcy and the then Shah of Iran, Muzaffar al-Din. Darcy was granted a 60-year concession to prospect, transport, and sell petroleum, natural gas, asphalt, and minerals in 3/4 of the country. Under the deal, the Shah was given a lump sum of £20,000 in cash and a further £20,000 in shares, with Iran set to receive only 16% of the profits. The Darcy Agreement is known historically as the deal that compromised Iran's ability to benefit from its own oil wealth for decades. In 1908, a significant oil reserve was found at Masjid Suleiman in southwestern Iran. It was the world's largest oil discovery at the time, and it set off a wave of exploration that would change the region's future. After the discovery, the British government bought out the Darcy concession and the Anglo-Persian Oil Company that later became the British Petroleum Company, or BP, in 1954. In the coming era, navies and national economies would be powered by oil, replacing coal. Iranian oil helped the British Navy substantially during World War I. Winston Churchill, who secured the purchase of the shares from the Darcy concession, affirmed the importance of Iranian oil.
Fortune brought us a prize from fairyland beyond our wildest dreams.
For the next 50 years, Iran's vast oil reserves came under British control. That is, until Mossadegh came into power. After World War II, Shah Mohammad Reza Pahlavi's rule was weakened by the rise of nationalist voices in the Iranian parliament. In March 1951, Iranian Prime Minister Haj Ali Razmara was assassinated by an ardent supporter of oil nationalization. Shortly after the assassination, nationalists in the Iranian Majlis, or parliament, nominated Mossadegh as their new prime minister. Fearing the strength of the nationalist movement, the Shah was forced to approve Mossadegh's nomination. And in May 1951, the Iranian parliament voted to nationalize the oil industry. Addressing his victory, Mossadegh said in a famous speech,
"Our long years of negotiations with foreign countries have yielded no results thus far. With the oil revenues, we could meet our entire budget and combat poverty, disease, and backwardness among our people."
So, let me try to summarize that here. Get here, chat. So basically, yeah. At some point, Iran wanted to be sovereign, to rely on itself for survival. The British took advantage of their oil, okay, for many years, and they would profit from Iran's oil while Iran was like poor and suffering, had its people suffer. Through by being democratic and voting for someone who was willing to fight against that, well, that pissed the British off, and that also pissed off the US. Okay, the nationalization of Iranian oil literally ruined British, like the Britain economic interests. Sounds very familiar. It's happened to literally almost every country that we already know of that tried to self-govern without only the US or only a Western power benefiting from their own resources. Israel was involved with Epstein. Am I even surprised at this point? No. You shouldn't be. You shouldn't be. But yeah, okay, so I'm just reiterating what this video has said and shown, okay? Let's go back to it too.
The nationalization of Iranian oil was a blow to Britain's economic interests and to the survival of the British Empire.
Views of the great refinery at Abadan are sufficient evidence in themselves of its size and importance. This great undertaking, built up over many years by British skill and with British money, has now been evacuated in humiliating circumstances.
Britain took the matter to the International Court of Justice and placed an embargo on Iran's oil industry, making it impossible for Iran to sell its newly nationalized oil on the world market.
Okay, They put an embargo on a nation that didn't want to only benefit the Western rich class and anyone who made business with the Western rich classes. And so they put an embargo on them to limit their success. I feel like there's like a Latin American nation that literally went through that, but I can't. Think about it, chat. Think about it.
The British hoped that economic pressure would threaten the popularity of Mossadegh and force him out of power. But Mossadegh was adamant.
Abroad, that strange politician Dr. Mossadegh continued on his strange way.
Fucking losers. That strange guy trying to help his people. They're so weird.
Refusing every offer for settlement of the oil dispute.
Desperate to regain control of Iran's oil industry, the British government approached the United States to assist in orchestrating a coup against Mossadegh. Harry Truman's administration rejected the idea of a coup in 1952, but when Dwight Eisenhower came to power in 1953, the British were able to persuade him by warning him of Mossadegh's communist alliances.
Demonstrations and riots in the streets of Tehran have followed the usual pattern in that troubled country. With shouts of "down with the Shah," fanatical leaders have been rallying the people in favor of Dr. Mossadegh.
The initial plan of toppling Mossadegh had failed, but the British and Americans eventually succeeded when they relied on royalists, the supporters of the exiled Shah.
So the Shah, chat. Who are the leaders, or who was? Well, maybe you guys don't know, but who was the leader? Who were they a part of? They were a part of the Shah, right? Am I right or am I wrong? So the US always whining, let's go to my face, always whining and complaining about like Iran being abusive towards their civilians and citizens, and that they need US intervention, and especially when it comes to the Iranians in the US or in Europe or anywhere else that is not Iran celebrating what's going on in Iran right now. They're celebrating for the downfall of the leader that they killed. Literally the leader of Iran. We managed to kill the guy because he was abusive to his civilians. That I won't deny, but literally the US ended up bringing him into power, and he ended up still rejecting US imperialism, right? Still, obviously. But the Democratic guy, they ended up removing him from power in order to put someone from Shah, a royalist, into power. So it's like, it doesn't make sense, you know? The US is complaining about, oh my god, the citizens, when they themselves implemented the leaders. You know, they are, well, maybe not implemented, since they ended up going against their will anyway in the end, but they helped implement those leaders, you know, that they used to have. Right now, I don't even know who the leader is because they killed them, but think about that.
The country was divided between the Shah supporters and Mossadegh supporters. This is how pro-Shah demonstrators took over the streets of Tehran. Mobs set pro-Mossadegh newspapers on fire, General Fazollah Zahidi surrounded Mossadegh's residence with tanks, and protesters clashed with his guards. Mossadegh and his cabinet eventually surrendered, and General Fazollah Zahidi became Iran's new prime minister. The US then restored the pro-Western regime of Shah Mohammad Reza Pahlavi to power. This was the first foreign intervention orchestrated by the newly formed CIA. The agency, with the help of British MI6, overthrew the first democratically elected government in the country. It was the beginning of the sequence of events that shaped Iran's relations with the US today.
In the military court at Tehran, where he's been on trial for treason, the Persian ex-premier, Dr. Mossadegh, demonstrates that he knows how to make an entrance.
Mossadegh was imprisoned for 3 years, then put under house arrest until his death. His family were forced to bury him at his residence. The overthrow of Mossadegh transformed Iran from a constitutional monarchy into a royal dictatorship, marking the beginning of public hostility towards the US. In 2000, Secretary of State Madeleine Albright acknowledged for the first time the US's role in the 1953 coup.
But the coup was clearly a setback for Iran's political development, and it is easy to see now why many Iranians continue to resent this intervention by America in their internal affairs.
After the coup of 1953, the oil was back under the control of the British, and the US gave increasing support to the Shah of Iran. In 2013, Iran's parliament approved a bill for the government to sue the US for its involvement in the coup. The bill followed the release of declassified documents offering details about how the CIA carried out the coup as an act of US foreign policy.
Campaign to install a pro-Western government in Iran. Target: Prime Minister Mossadegh and his government. Objectives: through legal or quasi-legal methods, to effect the fall of the Mossadegh government and to replace it with a pro-Western government under the Shah's leadership with Zahedi as its prime minister.
In 1957, the US government helped the Shah establish its infamous secret police force known as Savak. Savak was tasked with monitoring the Shah's political opponents and even Iranians abroad. The agency tortured many Iranians, and its agents received training for interrogation tactics from the CIA. But the alliance between the Shah and the US turned a deaf ear to the growing anger in Iranian streets against the oppression of the Shah and US interference. In late December 1977, during a lavish New Year's Eve celebration, US President Jimmy Carter praised the Shah for making his country an island of stability.
Iran, because of the great leadership
Stability.
of the Shah, is an island of stability in one of the more troubled areas of the world.
Little more than a year later, animosity towards the Shah and US policies culminated in the Shah's ousting. Religious leader Ayatollah Khomeini, who played an integral part in the Shah overthrow, returned to the country after 15 years in exile. His return marked the beginning of more than 4 decades of animosity between Iran and the US.
Oh yeah, and then I read this last time, but I'll read it again, it's fine. 1979, Iranian students storm American embassy and hold more than 60 Americans hostage. 1980, U.S. bans exports to Iran and expels Iranian nani diplomats. Suicide bombing in Beirut kills 241 American servicemen. 1988, U.S. shoots Iranian passenger plane, killing 290 people. 1980 to 1988, Iran and Iraq war, over 1 million killed. 1992, U.S. Congress imposes sanctions on Iran. 2009, discovery of secret uranium enrichment site in Iran.
Since 1984, the US has designated Iran as a sponsor of terrorism. And although there were periods of negotiations and decreased tensions, changes in administration and Iran's proxy wars throughout the region have put the two countries at odds once again. Tensions between Tehran and Washington have been rising since the Trump administration withdrew from the Iran nuclear deal in 2018.
For far too long, all the way back to 1979 to be exact, nations have tolerated
Thank you for
Iran's
checking in,
destructive
Zaya 36.
stabilizing behavior in the Middle East and beyond. Those days are over.
The US has taken several steps to put maximum pressure on the Iranian regime.
November 2018, the U.S. reinforces economic sanctions. April 2019, the U.S. designates the Islamic Revolutionary Corps, IRGC, a foreign terrorist organization. May 2019, the U.S. tightens energy sanctions against
The campaign
Iran.
aimed to curb Iran's nuclear program and regional reach by draining its economy. Iran responded to the maximum pressure campaign with a maximum resistance campaign. In retaliation, Iran showed off its ability to harm U.S. interests in the region.
May 2019, Iran increases its production of enriched uranium. May to June 2019, Iran attacks multiple oil tankers. June 2019, Iran shoots down a U.S. surveillance drone. July 2019, Iran seizes British oil
In January
tanker.
2020, the U.S. assassinated Qasem Soleimani, Iran's most revered military commander. Soleimani was the head of Iran's Revolutionary Guards Quds Force. His controversial role in the war in Syria enhanced Iran's military presence in the region. President Hassan Rouhani drew parallels between Soleimani's assassination and the US engineered coup of 1953.
This crime that the US committed is similar to the coup attempt and similar to the downing of Airbus passenger flight in the Persian Gulf. This crime will never be forgotten.
Trump said that by killing Soleimani, the US had saved many lives. But to many of these mourners, Soleimani, just like Mossadegh, was another national hero that the US removed from power against the will of the Iranian people.
And now they removed another leader. And they ended up making him look really good. They ended up turning him into a martyr, you know, someone who was fighting against Western imperialism. You know, defending their rights to nuclear power, you know, to benefit civilization in Iran rather than make a fucking bomb that has been proven to have no basis, you know, like Israel kept whining about Iran making bombs, but even the US had evidence against that. They decided to get out of the nuclear, the Iran nuclear program, where they monitor literally Iran's nuclear programs, and decided to just believe everything that Israel says. And because they, you know, they want to they already have destabilized the entire nation of Iran in order for the US to take control over it. But they already did that, right? They did that a while ago, as we seen here in the video. They did that. They removed literally a democratic leader that was doing everything for his people. They put the Shah in power. The US put the Shah in power, and it still ended up with the newest leader resisting the US. And now they killed him, and now they're trying to do this bullshit all over again, right? It's just a fucking endless cycle. Hello, Bleeder. We're just reflecting on things. Also, there is a 3-minute ad break. My bad. So now the question is, for what purpose? Who is this for, right? And well, I already mentioned it before, but let's look more into why.
A few weeks ago, I came across this interview.
אתה מתחבר לחזון?
Okay, do you agree with the situation?
מאוד.
Yes.
They said phrases like the Promised Land and Greater Israel. Phrases I'd heard before, but wasn't sure exactly what it meant. I had to find out. What is it? Myth? Conspiracy? A random scribbling from the father of Zionism? Or something much more sinister? A vision that is very real and very much at play. To understand it, let's go back to the turn of the 20th century and meet the founder of modern-day Zionism, Theodor Herzl. An Austro-Hungarian Jewish journalist and lawyer, initially believed Jews could assimilate into European culture, but after witnessing growing anti-Semitism in Vienna, including anti-Jewish protests, he soon concluded that only a sovereign Jewish state could provide security. His eyes set on Palestine and other parts of the Middle East. In his diary, he wrote that the Jewish homeland should stretch from the Brook of Egypt to the Euphrates, a line taken from the book of Genesis, where God promises Abraham's descendants the land between those rivers. This greater Israel vision includes Palestine, Jordan, Lebanon, Iraq, Syria, Egypt, and Saudi Arabia. And this vision would grow in the next generation of Zionist thinkers.
And now, Iran.
Two decades later, Palestine would be under British Mandate rule. The British facilitated mass Jewish migration in line with their commitment to establishing a national home for the Jewish people, while also falsely promising Palestinians an independent state.
They said you need to let all of these Jewish people in, and not all of these Jewish people were escaping the Holocaust, by the way. A bunch of these people were just living in other places in Europe, and they were being, of course, yeah, discriminated against. But there's this like false notion out there saying that they were all trying to escape Germany. When that isn't the case.
Tensions rose and the British clashed with a growing Jewish population that felt constrained by British rule. And Ze'ev Jabotinsky, a Zionist activist and military leader, would carry Herzl's legacy and create the ideology of revisionist Zionism, the belief that Jewish sovereignty could only be secured through force. You see, Jabotinsky was unimpressed with the current way Zionists in Palestine were acting, too cautious and diplomatic, willing to negotiate with the British and others. He argued that Palestinians would never accept Jewish rule voluntarily, so Zionism must advance under an iron wall of military power. He endorsed the slogan, "Both sides of the Jordan River," meaning not just Palestine, but the whole of Transjordan belonged to the Jewish state. In fact, he even wrote a song named "The Two Banks of Jordan," which was actually used as the anthem of the youth movement Beitar, the revisionist Zionist youth group founded in 1923. The British, wary of his influence, exiled Jabotinsky back to Europe in 1930. And we see this ideology expand in paramilitary groups like the Irgun, Sterngang, and Haganah, who would later form the Israeli Defense Force.
Some troops of this force are continuing their training, others go out on patrol, while behind the troubled scene,
They committed terrorist acts, both against the British and the Palestinians, all for the sake of pushing the vision of Greater Israel. Irgun's emblem, a map of Palestine and Transjordan. They utilized violence to achieve their vision of Greater Israel, terrorizing Palestinians and leading attacks against the British, including the 1946 Irgun bombing of the King David Hotel, which housed the British military headquarters. 91 people were killed. During the Nakba, or catastrophe, the paramilitary groups attacked and ransacked Palestinian cities and villages. In April 1948, just 1 month before the creation of the State of Israel, Zionist militants committed the Deir Yassin massacre. According to a 1948 UN report, the killing of some 250 Arabs, including men, women, and children, took place in circumstances of great savagery. And to be clear, it wasn't only revisionist Zionists who believed in this expansionist ideology. The liberal Zionists, led by the founder of Israel, David Ben-Gurion, shared a similar goal. You see, in 1937, the British Peel Commission proposed a partition of Palestine into separate Arab and Jewish states, due to all the escalating violence. This partition was publicly accepted by Ben-Gurion and his Socialist Mapai Party, but privately, his intentions were clear. In a letter to his son, he wrote, "The acceptance of partition does not commit us to renounce Transjordan. We shall accept the state in the boundaries fixed today, but the boundaries of Zionist aspirations are the concern of the Jewish people." For Gurion, the creation of the State of Israel was his primary goal, with expansion being a later step. Then came 1948, the year that Israel was established, with Gurion as its first leader. When declaring the State of Israel, one key factor is omitted from Israel's Declaration of Independence: its borders. Pinchas Rosen, then Israel's Minister of Justice, demanded that the declaration state Israel's borders clearly and legally. But Gurion refused, saying that once Israel had built up its strength, it would abolish the partition and take the whole land of Israel. By leaving the borders undefined, Ben-Gurion ensured Israel could later expand its territory through war and armistice lines, rather than being restricted by law. And this quickly benefited Gurion. After the 1948 Arab-Israeli War, Israel expanded its territory from the roughly 55% allotted by the UN partition plan to about 77%.
Jesus.
While over 750,000 Palestinians were displaced during the Nakba. Gurion's goal was ultimately the same as that of Jabotinsky, but he was willing to take a slower pace by working alongside the British. Israel's borders shifted once again after the 1967 war between Israel and surrounding Arab states. On the eve of the attack, Israeli Minister Yigal Allon said, "In a new war, we must avoid the historic mistake of the War of Independence and must not cease fighting until we achieve total victory, the territorial fulfillment of the land of Israel." The outcome of this war would lead to Israel occupying the Gaza Strip, the West Bank, the Golan Heights, and the Sinai Peninsula. Now, Israel would return the Sinai Peninsula as part of the Camp David Accord. but have now occupied the whole of historic Palestine, expelled over 300,000 Palestinians, and still occupies these lands to this day. The victory of 1967 not only redrew borders, but also revived the expansionist vision. By 1977, several right-wing parties had united under the Likud banner, with Menachem Begin becoming prime minister. The revisionist dream, including the vision of Greater Israel, pressed on within the party, and wherever soldiers went, settlers were quick to follow. However, the lands Israel gained in the 1967 war were once considered negotiable. In 1993, Prime Minister Yitzhak Rabin and PLO leader Yasser Arafat agreed to the Oslo Accords, a peace treaty in retreat from its occupation of the Gaza Strip and the West Bank, granting Palestinians restricted self-rule. But to many Palestinians, the Oslo Accords felt less like
Restrictive
peace and more like
self-rule.
a false promise. And it wasn't just Palestinians who didn't like the Accords. Rabin faced massive criticism from the far right, and demonstrations against him and the Oslo Accords took place, with Netanyahu himself, who was head of the Likud party, taking part in these demonstrations and giving speeches. Rabin was even threatened by none other than Itamar Ben-Gvir, Israel's current Minister of National Security.
You managed to remove an emblem here. Oh wait, here, let me remove these ugly ass captions. And this symbol shows just like we can get to Rabin's car. What? Wait, what?
Minister of National Security.
You managed to remove. Oh my god, that is like a
Israel's current
1
Minister
second.
of National Security.
Okay, you managed to remove an emblem from Rabin's car. An emblem is the symbol, and the symbol shows just like we can. And the symbol shows just like we can get to Rabin's car, we can get to Rabin.
And in 1995,
Wow.
Rabin was assassinated by Yuval Amir, a far-right extremist. The Accords, intended to pave way for a two-state solution and stop settlement expansion, failed to deliver. Instead, they created the Palestinian Authority, divided the West Bank into 3 administrative areas, and by 1996, brought a young Netanyahu into power.
Wow.
Since then, settlement expansion has only accelerated. Today, there are more than 700,000 Israelis living in illegal settlements in the occupied West Bank and 31,000 in the Golan Heights in Syria.
Trump
Daniela Weiss,
Heights?
the so-called godmother of the settler movement, says it plainly.
Even if you take Netanyahu now, he's very happy what we do here and also about our plans.
She even holds up a laminated map of Greater Israel.
No, this is the promise of God to the patriarchs of the Jewish nation.
And Netanyahu has spoken openly of his deep connection to the vision of Greater Israel, calling it a mission for the generations. Finance Minister Bezalel Smotrich appeared at a memorial in Paris in front of a map of Israel stretching into Jordan, declaring that the Palestinian people do not exist. In a 2024 documentary, he repeated this, saying that the future of Jerusalem is to expand to Damascus, and he's proposed to annex the West Bank. Soldiers have been seen wearing badges etched with the map of Greater Israel. Netanyahu was handed an amulet inscribed with the map, described as his personal vision, and calls the vision a historical and spiritual mission. It's evident now that Greater Israel is not a myth, not a conspiracy, but a very real plan of those in power in Israel. Its exact definition and borders may be presented in different ways, but its purpose has always been the same: to expand. And when a state sees its borders as endlessly expandable, it often leaves behind a trail of graves.
Yeah. So that's the goal, is to just take over everything. And so now that we understand the history, this is not the way, man. Well, Western countries agreed to it, and they're not stopping Israel, they're helping them. So now that we understand that, now we can look at the summary of what happened on Saturday. Here it is.
War has broken out across the Middle East. How big will it get? Early on Saturday morning, the US and Israel conducted joint strikes across Iran. They targeted military sites and senior political figures, including Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, President Masoud Pezeshkian, and top military officials. Israel claims that they've eliminated several senior commanders.
Iran's supreme leader is reportedly dead.
But we don't know how successful these strikes have been, because Iran has prepared for them. The government had expected that the US and Israel could carry out a surprise attack during ongoing negotiations, like they did in last June's 12-day war. Iran quickly responded early on Saturday by firing missiles at Israel and at the Gulf states, including Saudi Arabia, Qatar, the United Arab Emirates, Bahrain, and Kuwait. While these have largely targeted US military bases, they've also hit oil infrastructure and civilian areas. Yemen's Houthi group, closely allied with Iran, also said that they will resume attacks on Israel and on shipping routes in the Red Sea. So what happens next? This doesn't seem to be a limited attack focused on nuclear and military sites like last June. US President Donald Trump and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu have implied the focus is regime change.
To the members of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard, the armed forces, and all of the police, I say tonight that you must lay down your weapons and have complete immunity, or in the alternative, face certain death. To the great proud people of Iran, when we are finished, take over your government. It will be yours to take.
The US and Israel plan to carry out escalating rounds of strikes until Iran's government collapses or capitulates. But it's unclear if that will work. Iran's leadership knows that it is fighting for its survival.
It's never worked. We literally looked at the US trying that before with Iran and other nations. It never works. It literally never works, never has.
It also knows that it can't defeat the US and Israel directly. So instead, it is trying to spread the war across the region by attacking US allies, hoping that the Gulf countries will pressure Trump to end his campaign. Iran has also moved to close the Strait of Hormuz, through which about a fifth of global oil shipping passes per day. This could cause global oil prices to skyrocket, another form of pressure. It could also turn to groups like Yemen's Houthis, Lebanon's Hezbollah, and militias in Iraq to increase pressure by attacking US bases. The message to the US is clear. If you bring us down, we will throw the region into chaos. But it's not clear that this will work either. Faced with waves of Iranian missiles, Gulf states have voiced their support for the US, which could give America greater use of their airspace and bases to attack Iran. But how will this attack end? Trump's goals are very unclear. He seems to believe that a few days of intense bombing can eliminate Iran's leadership, destroy its military capacity, and encourage people to take to the streets until the government is toppled. But air power alone can rarely do that. It often requires fighting by armed, organized opposition groups on the ground, like in Libya in 2011. Iran's leadership has also prepared for a long-term war of attrition to fight for its survival. It's prepared its command structure so that it can continue fighting even if senior leaders are assassinated. The CIA's internal assessments have shown that even if Ayatollah Khamenei is taken out, he would likely be replaced by a hardline figure from the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. It's using the saturation method, firing barrages of cheap missiles to exhaust enemy defenses. Senior US military officials have warned that this kind of drawn-out war could threaten US missile defense systems, which have been depleted by conflicts in Ukraine, Israel, and Yemen. Trump is also running low on another key resource for this war: public support. Polls show that only around 25% of Americans support military action in Iran. Since Trump claimed to have obliterated Iran's nuclear capacity last June, most don't understand why the US is going to war now. If the US starts to take on casualties, public opposition to the war could force Trump to stop ahead of midterms this November. Until then, both sides will try to show that they can keep going longer than the other. But the bar for victory is very different. Trump is gambling that they can overthrow Iran's leadership, install a more friendly government, and sustain minimal losses to US troops and allies in the region. But for Iran's leadership, victory is simply to show that they can survive. Who will fold first and just how bad things will get before they do is yet to be seen.
Yeah, and the more America and Israel commit war crimes, it's not only about losing American troops at this point. I feel like a lot of people are losing sympathy for poor fucks that are tricked into joining the military. Okay? You know, they go after me. They go after people like me, and they beg for us to join the US military, promising us money, free school, and I guess healthcare, which ends up being all a lie. Like, even as a kid, as a high schooler, I knew that that was a lie. And why would I sacrifice my life for you know, things that won't last long, you know? I don't love my country that much. Sorry. That's like a huge if I end up going to war, I just don't love my country that much. Unfortunately, one of my girlfriends, not girlfriends, but like a girl that is a friend or was a friend, they're not my friend anymore. Who I saw as a little sister for a long time, ended up joining the military. She asked me about it. I told her, don't join. You know, you will give away your entire life, your body to... You'll sell your soul to America. And she ended up, you know, being fucked up real bad by the government and other soldiers. I don't know how she's doing right now. I don't know if they even forced her to join this war. But it's just not worth it. They brainwash you into committing crimes and or regurgitate propaganda, which is one of the reasons why we couldn't be friends anymore, because obviously I'm too woke for that. And eventually it was sad seeing my friend being mentally taken away from that, and turning into someone who had total disregard for human life, including mine. So, yeah. A lot of people are losing sympathy for American troops like that, okay? We're all on the same boat, but you decided to sell your soul to the military. So, yeah. Here in England, we've been getting army ads for a while now. That's crazy. I feel like the army ads have been the same for US Americans. Because they literally go to high schools and they try to recruit you before you graduate high school. They're like, hey, is your future not planned? Are your folks not rich? Do you have impending doom about your future? Join the military. Come on. Come on. But here is a more official source. This is the first thing that I saw. Usually I just have the habit of always logging on to Twitter, making sure, you know, keeping tabs on what's going on. I follow Drop Site News, which is pretty reliable, a pretty reliable news source that I follow, although trigger warning, they do not censor their images, so you will see some horrific things that will definitely traumatize you. But yeah, once I saw this that says breaking news, Israel launches 3 airstrikes on Iran. Iran state affiliated force news agency reports 3 explosions in downtown Tehran. Israel's defense minister Israel Katz says Israel has launched a preemptive attack on Iran, or basically a call to war. According to the Times of Israel, Iran has repeatedly said diplomacy, Jesus Christ, is the answer and has not threatened an attack on Israel. So it happened, and this happened actually at 3:23 p.m. February 28th, 2026, Japan time. For me, so this is when that happened. It might be a day before for you guys, since I tend to live in the future most of the time. I want to watch Hassan's basically rundown of what happened as well, because we've been looking at news sources, right? But I feel like Hassan is able to say things in a more comprehensive and relatable manner. So I want to watch Hassan's explanation as well.
The Amer-Israeli World War Epstein.
World War Epstein, Jesus Christ. There is no country worth going to war for. It's true. It's true. And I don't even think I'll be able to watch everything. I just realized that I'm almost out of time here. But let me see. Let me look at my sources here. Yeah. I think I might do a part 2 next week. This is why I should do political commentary twice a week, and most likely on Tuesdays and Thursdays. We'll most likely start this next month because I run out of time. Like, Jesus Christ. It's almost 1 a.m. for me, and I need to go to bed for work tomorrow. But, let's see. I'll watch Hassan. Should I skip you? No one likes Hassan anyway. I like him, obviously, but no one likes him anyway. Wait, joining the military is being a slightly smaller class traitor than being a cop, but people are financially coerced to do both, so it's not a true consenting decision since it's made under financial duress. Yeah, but people say that about ICE agents. And let me tell you, if I see a fucking Mexican fuck being an ICE agent, I don't give a fuck. Fuck them. And there's a lot of Mexicans that are ICE agents. So that same animosity should be applied to veterans. I don't fucking care. Especially veterans, since they commit war crimes and rape children, kill children, behead children all over the world for the sake of America. And you know what, Hassan? Sorry. I'm not gonna let you get away with it, Hassan. Instead, you know what? I'll just share this very good, like, summary of what's happening. I'll send it on here Twitch so you guys can like bookmark it for later and watch it later. And I'll also paste it here on my YouTube chat. The video is called, oh, what did I do? What did I do? Oh, okay, yeah, there we go. The video is called Israel and America Strike Iran. This was posted 2 days ago. You guys can watch it on Hassan Abi's YouTube channel. But for now, going off of that, what I said previously, I agree. I have no love for class traitors, and we should bully people so they quit their job service. But the nuance is helpful for critiquing the system. No, and the system, though, everyone knows that the system's corrupt. The thing is like there's still this fucking culture of babying veterans. You know, unless a veteran that has served in the military regrets their actions and are actively trying to warn people of what such a sham it is to serve the military, then yeah, of course I feel sorry for them because they were taking advantage of, and now they risk their lives, their humanity for what? For nothing. Just to blow up some kids' brains out? That is sad. For those people, I do feel sympathy. I fucking do. But most people don't really think about it. They still have this mentality of like, oh, they're fighting for freedom. Yeah, freedom of what? What do you mean? We're bombing Iran and killing children. They're killing children. And here's evidence of that. Going off of that, look at this. On that same day, was it the 28th? Right? Okay, Israel launched 3 airstrikes on Iran on the 28th. On the same day that they started a war with Iran. 3 p.m. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 4 hours later. 4 fucking hours later? They bomb an elementary school filled with girls, little girls, family members, and teachers. Okay? And at 8 p.m. Japan time on February 28th, 5 Iranian children were killed when U.S. Israeli missile strikes hit a girls' elementary school in the southern Iranian city of Minab, near the Strait of Hormuz in Hormozgan province, according to Iran's semi-official Fars news agency, citing the province's deputy governor. Okay? Iran has been attacking U.S. bases, mostly 90% of it. But immediately within the same day of attacking Iran, they fucking bomb an elementary school? Look at this. This is proof. Look at these people screaming. For what purpose? What's the point of this? What is the point of bombing girls? Huh? What is the point of bombing girls? How does this prevent a nuclear bomb? What did those girls do? And here it says 24 girls. Here it says 24 girls. Throughout that entire day, chat. I even streamed on this day, okay? But throughout the day, I was like keeping tabs on this. This fucking number, 24 girls, it kept fucking increasing. It kept fucking increasing, okay? And don't believe any fake ass Iranians from Europe or from America, for wherever the fuck they are celebrating this. You don't kill fucking little girls to free your country. You either have to be fucking stupid, be part of the royal class, or don't even know your own people's history. Because they tried pulling the same shit with Mexico, okay? They wanted to send bombs and take over Mexico to kill the cartels, and a bunch of fake-ass, whitewashed Mexican Americans and royalists, white people who own land in Mexico, were saying, yeah, you guys should bomb Mexico. Bomb Mexico. Fuck Claudia for actually killing a cartel member. Bomb Mexico. Lies. Those fucking people are idiots. They're traitors to their own people. Not only are fake-ass whitewashed Iranians celebrating this, but look at this. Also, fucking U.S. military members.
And we did World War II. Bitch, we'll do this shit again. Iran, we ain't scared of you. No, where the fuck do y'all
lame ass.
Fuck Iran,
bitch. This is stupid. Okay, it's not about race anymore. It's about fucking American imperialism. Done by Mexicans, done by Latinos, done by Black people, done by every diverse group. The most evil nation right now is Americans. And right now, they're participating in Western American imperialism. No mercy for these motherfuckers. I fucking thought these guys were IDF soldiers. They're acting like it. No, these are Americans. They're the same fucking thing. IDF soldier, American soldier, same fucking thing. The US starting the IDF social media start is peak dystopia. No, it's just showing itself. They've always done shit like this, by the way, before TikTok was a thing and all that shit. Americans would love taking selfies as they were torturing some poor fuck in the Middle East. Taking pictures before they gang raped a Middle Eastern girl, shot her and burned her body to smithereens. They've always done this before. Now it's just through TikTok videos. This has been historical. It has always happened. There shouldn't be a surprise to people. This should piss you off. Important to remember that the IDF trains many U.S. police departments, especially the NYPD, and also ICE agents. Yeah. We are Israel. America is Israel. Israel is America. Okay? And then they have the audacity, these dumbass American dumbass news anchors have the audacity to look at an Iranian in the eye and be like, how could you attack US bases? How could you? Fucking dumbass Americans. The number has risen to over 100 little girls. And I think they just ended up killing all the girls in that fucking school. Yet these fucking dumbasses ask dumbass questions.
Missiles cannot reach the United States by design, that you do not want to reach the United States, but you also said it would be necessary as a defensive vehicle that you could if necessary. So to be clear, are you committing that Iran is not and will not build missiles that would have the capability to reach the United States?
I can confirm, yes.
Sir, if that's a red line for you, why is attacking U.S. military bases abroad justified?
Dumbass.
Because they are attacking us. They are U.S. military, installations, facilities, bases who are attacking us. We are under attack. Why don't you, recognize this fact? We are under the attack by U.S. by U.S. forces in the region. So we have every right to defend ourselves. And how to defend ourselves? We attacked, the U.S. bases. This is obvious. This is a very simple fact, and I hope that, and I'm sure that people would understand that. We are not the one who attacked Americans. We are only defending ourselves.
We are only defending them. Yeah, they're only defending themselves. And also, in the process, they ended up shooting a fucking elementary school, not even 4 hours in, shooting at Iran. Okay? And a bunch of dumbass Americans and other Western fucking civilians can't fucking see that. Who needs greater Israel when all great countries already do whatever they say? True. Well, they need greater Israel. Israel needs greater Israel. More power. The imperial boomerang does miss the fact that fascism never stopped in America with respect to non-white people, but it's a useful concept to teach white people learning about ICE and police violence for the first time. No, yeah, it's fascism. It has been everywhere. But it did start, okay, with Western imperialism, which is mostly made up of white people. After that, then of course other races joined in, but it started with white people. That's a fact. Now they're fucking double tapping at civilians, where they bomb a civilian population, and then people go in to help their children, to help families, to help out the innocent that have been struck by the first attack. And then bam, they do a double tap and kill the people trying to help the other people. Doesn't that sound familiar? To those who have been watching me, I've been talking about this double tap bombing already for as long as I can remember ever starting TamaTalks. I've been talking about the double tapping and the cruelty of that. They've done that to Palestinians. Now they're doing that to Iranians. And where is Satan Yahoo during all of this? Where is he? Well, he fucking is in Germany, by the way. The people who committed genocide against Jewish people is protecting the guy committing genocide against Palestinians and anyone who stands in their way from owning more land. Fuck you, Germany. Fucking no. And anyone else defending the US, both military and civilians, fuck them. While Iran is attacking, once again, Iran is attacking US bases. Within 4 hours of starting this war, the US bombs an elementary school, saying that there is more than 160 girls killed in the US-Israeli strike on a primary school in Minab. These are all the graves of those children. How is this benefiting anyone? How? Really, for regime change? And why aren't people talking about it? Why are people ignoring this? You ignored Palestine, and look what happens when you ignore Palestine. More children are dying. You're part of the problem. Are you talking about this? Are you boycotting? If you can't protest, if you can't speak against your government, are you at least boycotting? What are you doing? We're all at fault here. Why paid for this? My money paid for this. Your money paid for this. We are all doing this to these fucking poor people. There was no evidence that Iran had nuclear weapons, but there is evidence that everything is done for the benefit of Israel and the US, so they can gain more control of the West Asian region, the Middle Eastern region, and control everything. All of this didn't need to happen. Iran was making peaceful negotiations. They advocated for peaceful negotiations. Yes, they've done fucked up. Their leaders did fucked up things to their citizens, but that is the fault of the US. We saw that. We saw that already. And now that Iran once again was going against the US and Israel, of course they're killing people. And now this is all that's left. All that's left here is fucking mothers, fathers, brothers, and sisters mourning the death of all of these fucking little girls. 160 of them. Going to school. I'm sick and tired of seeing little kids' brains be blown up. I work with kids. There's an image going out on the internet where there's a backpack of a first grader filled with blood. And I literally, today, I just came from school where I had a little first grader hugging me. I know what a little first grader feels like. I can imagine their brains being blown out. I can imagine them being dead. And I just don't understand why you fuckers don't do anything. I'm here, like, fucking trying to tell people to care, and it feels like I'm talking to a fucking wall. It's fucked up. All these fucking dumbass VTubers making this into drama as well. Not willing to say shit. Yeah. You gotta do more, man. That's all I'm asking. I gotta do more too. It's not only you, it's me too. But I am telling you, I'm sick and tired of seeing corpses, body parts everywhere, internal organs. It messes with your brain. And if you guys ain't seeing that shit, then you're just ignorant. This is why I speak on this shit. I don't care if you're a VTuber or a VTuber fan who says, oh, VTubing should be for people who are trying to escape reality, escapism, what? Fuck you. Fuck you, man. People are dying. Have some fucking humanity. Your escapism means shit to me. Use any medium possible to inform the people what's going on, to motivate them to do something right. Anyone, not just even VTubers, but anyone. But there's a reason why a lot of fucking racist fucks, ignorant fucks, go to VTubing to find some refuge where they don't have to give a political opinion other than being a fucking racist chud, because that won't be questioned by their beloved VTubers and these corporations, VTubing corporations, these ex-VTubers that escape those corporations and or big-ass indies. You know, think of the most famous VTuber. What are they saying? Nothing. Are they hanging out with right-wingers? Yes. Anyone who participates in the VTuber Awards is hanging out with right-wingers because the person who leads it is a fucking right-winger. Let's be for real here. People need to fucking care. I'm tired too, boss. I'm with you, Tama. Thank you, guys. That helps me feel more sane. It really does. But it shouldn't be about me, and it shouldn't be about you. It should be about helping these people and fighting against imperialism, you know? That's what it should be about. Yeah, and that's all I can say for now. I mean, I hope that this discourages you from memeing about this, sharing TikToks that meme about the situation. I hope this discourages you from defending your country that's participating in this. The US, Israel, any Middle Eastern country that is defending those two countries. Apparently Germany, France, and the UK, Britain want to join in on this war, and we just have to fight against that. How the fuck is Netanyahu in Germany taking a vacation in Germany as people are being bombed, as little girls are being fucking annihilated by his missiles? We can't allow this to happen. I hope you guys speak out more. And learn more. And the best way to help these people is by not giving your money to the big corporations that are funding shit like this, okay? Do your best out there. I'll try to do my best too. And that will be the end of TamaTalks for tonight. I don't think I could sleep tonight. Honestly, just thinking about this again, I've been having trouble. I've been stressing out over a lot of things, especially this. So I kind of want to play, I think, is Zaya streaming right now? I kind of want to play a game with Zaya. I think he's playing Pokemon Unite, so I'm gonna raid him and I'll join. I'll calm down a little bit and then I'll join his stream to play a game of Pokemon Unite. Shout out to Zaya. I'm gonna raid him right now. and then I'll just play a game with him for now. Obviously he doesn't speak on politics as much as I do, but he's literally the only VTuber who I feel respects my opinion and doesn't fucking treat me like a weirdo when I speak politically to them, so that's why I'm rating them right now. Shit, but I'll rate Desire. I know I'm very discouraged right now, but thank you for everyone who's watching and who continues to watch me and continues to hear me out despite my negativity and me being aggressive. But it really means a lot, okay? Go be good people. Do not fall for propaganda. And, yeah, just, fight against this bullshit, okay? I'll go, raid Isaiah right now, if he's still streaming. Is he streaming? God, Jesus Christ. There he is. I'll be right there. I'll be respectful too, y'all. Okay, I'll see you later, alligators. Bye-bye.